Welcome viewers, good morning to everybody. This is Professor K.P. Mahapatra, Kamla Prasad Mahapatra talking to you on KP's Lit Charts. In this channel, ladies and gentlemen, you will find not only discussions on literature, but our attempts will be to make a deep dive into the critical thinking, analytical skill and the philosophical insights of various literary creations and also scriptures, legends relating to Hinduism and other religions. On psychology also we will have discussions on Freud, Jung, Kierkegaard and others, and along with this we will have basic elements of our religion and human life, and the relationship between life and literature shall also be focused on this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, let's discuss why do we study literature. In an age of cyberspace and information technology explosion, well, there was a great debate that literature will take a back seat. But we have seen what has happened. Literature bounced back with a vengeance. We have had globalization in 1991, and ever since globalization we have been witnessing the explosion in the field of information technology. Of course, it has provided employment to millions of youths in India and other countries. Had globalization not been there, the unemployment problem would have been at the highest peak point. But that apart, I would like to impress upon you is that the position of literature has remained untouched. Literature has never been shaken, has never been threatened by the incursion of information technology. Rather, the software engineers, the technocrats who are having a very hectic schedule at office, they relax at home and they try to watch a movie or read a novel or watch a TV serial or listen to a beautiful song that would rather give them a kind of entertainment as well as a kind of aesthetic feeling. So literature has multiple functions. Well, if you try to see literature from close angles, you will find that literature sometimes acts as a mirror, it also acts as a lamp. Ladies and gentlemen, it acts as a mirror as long as it reflects the socio-political, cultural, economic and psychological phenomena. The different kinds of happenings, incidents, situations, what happen in reality get reflected in literature. Literature comprises three aspects. French critic Hippolyte Taine has spoken about it. He said, literature comprises three elements. First is res, second is milieu, third is moment. Res relates to the man or the writer or the creator. The man lives in the society and there is a milieu. Milieu is the background. Milieu is the circumstance. Milieu is the atmosphere where he is living. Milieu is the kind of neighborhood he is living. Then comes the moment. What kind of moment is that? That is the epiphanic moment, the creative moment, the transcendental moment, the fecund moment, the moment in which Ma Saraswati, Goddess Saraswati, or taking the case of European countries or Western countries, Goddess Muse, they used to impregnate the writer with ideas, thoughts, passions, emotions, which get reflected in turn in their writing. It may take years together, you don't have a single idea to write anything, but it may so happen in 1 month or in 1 week you may have a huge production of literature. So it depends. It depends on the creative moment, the epiphanic moment, the fecund moment, the versatile moment, the creative moment, for which the writer used to always eagerly wait. So literature has two functions, I have told you. First is entertainment, second is enlightenment. And I have told you this is a mirror. As the mirror it reflects the joys and jubilance, the sorrows and sufferings, the agonies and anguishes, the excitement and the pleasure of the human beings in its spectrum. And it also serves as a lamp, as the lamp illuminates a particular area and removes the darkness. Similarly, by studying literature, the area of darkness of ignorance is removed and our mind is illuminated with the glow of wisdom. So literature teaches us, literature reforms us, literature gives us pleasure. So for that reason, in this connection, we must go back to the Greek and Latin literature. The writers like Homer, Virgil, Ovid, Dante, Horace, Catullus, Lucretius, all these classical writers, they got printed, their works got printed. They were writing manuscripts, and the printing machine was invented in England in the 16th century during the age of Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth I was ruling over England when there was social contentment, political stability, social harmony and economic progress. Scientific invention as well, for which the printing machine was invented. And after the conquest, Turkish conquest of Constantinople in 1450, the fugitive scholars, they began to come from Greece and Rome. And with them they carried the manuscripts of Homer, Virgil, Ovid, Horace, Catullus, Lucretius, Aristophanes, Seneca, etc. So what happened? After the defeat of Spanish Armada, individualism developed in England. In the 16th century, during the rule of Queen Elizabeth, what happened? The individualism, the element of individualism cropped up. As a result, people began to become self-reliant. They wanted to search for their identity. They want to establish themselves in society and get recognition among the people. After the defeat of Spanish Armada, Britishers became united. The element of nationalism evolved. So the age of Renaissance, my point of discussion is today the age of Renaissance. What did Renaissance bring about and why is it called the Golden Age in England? Renaissance brought about miraculous progress. Unexpected progress was brought about during the age of Renaissance. Especially, what is the meaning of Renaissance? The meaning of Renaissance is rebirth. The meaning of Renaissance is the revival of knowledge, reawakening of knowledge, wisdom. And where from did that knowledge come? That knowledge came from Greece and Rome. Who brought them? The fugitive scholars. Where did they bring? They brought it to England, France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, etc. And in England, the atmosphere was very conducive, for which the literature was printed, because printing machine has already been invented, and during that period of time the university wits also emerged as the budding writers. The university wits were university professors. They used to teach in the universities during the daytime, and in the night time they used to write plays. Among them, the most noted writers are Thomas Kidd, Robert Greene, George Peele, John Lilly, Thomas Nase, Christopher Marlowe. What did they do? They started writing plays. Say for example, Thomas Kidd's important play, The Spanish Tragedy, was an eye-opener, was a landmark in the history of English literature. Because prior to the age of Renaissance or 16th century or the Elizabethan age, there was a dark age. English literature for all practical purposes started from 14th century. After Chaucer and Langland, there was no poet worth the mention in 15th century. Nothing was produced. That's why it is called the Dark Age, the Barren Age, the Infertile Age, the Effete Age, Gloomy Age. Only that gloominess could be removed after the advent of 16th century during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. That was a wonderful period, an amazing period where people not only lived in harmony, they had no wants at all. And Britishers may be the shopkeepers, traders, they are interested in commercial ventures, they are money-minded people, they are materialistic people. But along with that, they used to be the typical lovers of literature. They have a great aesthetic sense and they looked for good pieces of literature. When the university wits wrote plays, they were very much happy. They began to go through them, read them. And after becoming happy, they thought that the plays should be staged. The novel is meant to be read, but a play is meant to be, drama is meant to be staged. So what happened? During that time, Globe Theatre was not there. There was no theatre hall. So what the university wits used to do, they used to stage street plays. On the streets, plays were staged. And the ladies and gentlemen from aristocratic section of society, they used to come on horseback, put down the horse, tie up the horse on a tree and go to watch the play. After the play is over, they used to come out. And do you know how Shakespeare became so great? Shakespeare became so great because he was holding the horse of the people who used to come and watch the plays. In my next video, I may talk about Shakespeare, his emergence as a great playwright, and I think the age of Renaissance was really the golden age, and that established the foundation of English literature in a way, because 14th century had just started. Prologue to Canterbury Tales, Piers the Ploughman of William Langland, Geoffrey Chaucer's Prologue to Canterbury Tales. I think these are the two important works produced by Chaucer and Langland, and after them there was no production, no literary production worth the mention, because 15th century was a dark age. So in the 16th century, actually the real foundation of literature was put, and during the 16th century literature saw the prosperity, amazing prosperity. It flourished and reached the pinnacle of glory under the leadership of William Shakespeare. Elizabethan age could be divided into three parts. The age of Renaissance could be divided into three parts. The age of preparation, then the middle age, then the mature age. So during the age of Shakespeare, we find Shakespeare wrote 37 plays and wrote 154 sonnets. As a result, Shakespeare established the foundation of English literature, and that was really amazing. People had never thought a boy, small boy, born at Stratford-on-Avon on 23rd April 1564, who was a school dropout, he could be such a great poet, such a renowned poet, such an eminent playwright, and this is really amazing. So this is for today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So before you leave, please like, share and subscribe to my video. This is KP's Lit Charts. I will be regularly available for you, and any demand, any kind of requirement do you have, you can mention it in the description box, in the comments. I will try my level best to give it to you. I will be not only discussing literature as I told you, I will be discussing philosophy, I will be discussing religion, I will be discussing legend, I will be discussing Indian scriptures, I will be discussing Bhagavad Gita, I will be also discussing Upanishad, I will also be discussing sociology and psychology as well. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Jagannath.